saying ATL when I want to
Peace
spell
and
my
Black
college.
Power. Peace and Black Power, family. Welcome to another Sonetta TV, House of Consciousness production. Stay Woke TV 101. My man Shaft is in the building. Peace and Black Power to you, brother. What we got today for the people, man?
We got my girl, Ange. Angie is all around the board. You know, she's been in the industry for years. She's just gonna touch on a little bit of everything. She's gonna give you a little brief history about herself. She's gonna talk about the industry. She's gonna talk about what she's doing today, where she's at today, and basically, I'm gonna leave it up to her.
Okay, so ask her and introduce herself. Let the people know who she is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. Greetings, salutations. Hola, buen dia, buenas noches at this point. Or buena notte, as the Italians say.
Well, you know you can see yourself as you
Yes.
going in. Go ahead,
Yes.
talk to us.
As they said, I'm Angela Young, affectionately known as Ange throughout the industry. I was definitely what a lot of people I think would have considered one of the industry darlings, you know, who worked behind the scenes for many, many years. I got to know so many different people in different capacities from working at more than one entertainment company. So for me, it was a total span actually of 18 years. I was born in Maryland, moved to New York when I was 7. So I claim New York because I had most of my schooling here, developed most of my friendships here. So for me, this is home. Now, I spent summers down south, you know what I mean? So I still went down there to see my family, my people, this is that. But now my parents are both musicians and educators. So hence came sort of my burning desire to do something having to do with music. But I did not want to be in the spotlight. I wanted to be behind the scenes. So that's how I ended up getting into the music industry. My parents sang on Morgan's choir. I have a history of HSBCUs in my family. Hampton University, Coppin State, Morgan, Howard, Spelman, Morehouse. The list goes on. So they followed in that tradition, and they actually met at Morgan. And they sang on Morgan's choir and traveled the world. So my mom's like, you know, you came out of my stomach singing like Handel's Messiah. Handel, by the way, do your research, is a German classical musician, okay, who wrote the Messiah. If you don't know it by the title, you probably know it by some of the words in the song like King of Kings and Lord of Lords. King of Kings and Lord of Lords, that is part of the lyrical content of the Messiah, which I apparently came out singing. So there's something to be said about being in the womb. You know, they say doulas and nurse practitioners and people who help women give birth, you know, which is something very organic and really important in this world because we're talking about our future. You know, children are our future. So if you can, you know, music, which is something so universal as a language, it's like you can hear a song in Turkish and not know what they're saying, but you can still feel the emotion in the song, and it's still gonna maybe make you do that head nod.
So tell
You know
me,
what I mean?
so let's go back first.
Okay.
So you was raised with both your parents, right?
I was raised with both of them. I only have one sibling who's about 10 years younger than me.
Okay. Boy or girl?
A boy.
A boy, brother?
Yeah,
okay.
I have a younger brother.
So growing up from Maryland,
Right.
came to New York. So what type, like, you told me a little about like your history, like what type of people you went to school with? Like,
Since I went to HSBCU, you know, by choice, I turned down numerous scholarships from white schools such as Wesleyan, Harvard, Georgetown, and they offered me money. But I went to private school in the city here in Manhattan. You know, my parents just wanted the best. First of all, they worked in the public school system. And they were like, oh, your brother and you may be in public school for like 1 year, but if we could help it, we're not keeping you there.
Okay.
You know, and I had, you know, other experiences as far as like the hood, because first of all, my parents kind of came from different backgrounds. My dad was more from the hood.
okay.
So being around his family, I got a different experience than from being around my mom's family. So it's like I felt like I had the best of both worlds, and musically speaking as well. But yeah, from a young age, I just sort of knew something inherent in me that I wanted to, you know, do something in music. As I said, both of my parents I grew up with. you know, and so did my brother. We were very fortunate to have them. They started teaching us piano lessons and vocal lessons while we were in elementary school. We just got them at home for free. You know what I mean? My dad would just be actually practicing for a gig. He joined the union, and he would hire, he would be a piano player and a vocalist, and he would hire a bass player and a drummer to complete what we call a trio. And he would do private parties at homes for people who did soap operas, you know, General Hospital, all sorts of, like Susan Lucci, you know, at her penthouse on 65th Street or something like that. So it's like, you know, and, you know, that was money that helped put me and my brother through college, you know, and get a good education and be able to land on our feet no matter what situ we're in.
Didn't you know Bill Cosby's daughter?
I did. They were part of my middle school and elementary school experience at Bank Street School for Children, which moved from Bank Street in the Village to 112th between Broadway and Riverside, right around Columbia area. I think like Collegiate's up there. There are a couple of the well-known schools up there. And again, my parents sacrificed a lot because they were already paying like college tuition, you know, before me and my brother were in college. You get what I'm saying? So it's like when I look back, you know what I mean, at the experiences that I had and the fact that I was, you know, in a class of 28 people in my graduating class from high school.
Have you ever got a chance to meet Bill Cosby?
Oh, on several occasions.
Now,
so
when-
I went to school with 3 of his kids. So
Now,
yeah.
when the story broke about Bill Cosby, what went through your mind? What went through your mind when you heard about that?
What went through my mind was the only experience that I knew from that man, which was a positive experience. Every time I was around him.
Did you believe it?
I really did not, because as someone who was young, I was still basing everything I heard on my experiences. And then you have to think, his kids are my friends. I never had a bad experience with this man. You know what I mean? I kind of don't, I feel like similar to how Jay Black felt about what he heard about Diddy. You know what I mean? Now, someone else can say that about Diddy, but that wasn't my experience with Diddy. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I was so blessed to have been invited to, you know, a couple of their homes, you understand? But again, it was a long-term relationship. You know what I mean?
Now that you're talking about P. Diddy, if we want to jump there,
Okay.
what is your relationship like with P. Diddy? Like how long you've been working
Right.
with him or met him or stuff
Okay.
like that?
I never worked with him directly. It was sort of a little incestuous, if you want to say, in the sense that the fact that I worked for Clive Davis used to be Diddy's old boss. So Arista was the distribution company for Bad Boy, but then BMG switched it up and made Clive leave Arista. Remember, he had this whole big 25th anniversary TV special. I mean, you know, you would have thought he was an artist, you know, which people respect Clive Davis so much that that's why he was able to have a, you know, okay, end of Arista record label party. I mean, what other record execs do you know who get a special on TV, nationally
Yo.
syndicated television?
Hold on, I don't mean to cut you short, but I got Black.
Oh,
Yo, what up?
Yo, what up, man? Hold on,
hear him,
man.
they hear him.
They can hear him.
Yeah.
All right,
Y'all
yo,
like
listen,
the
man.
show?
Huh?
You like the show? Y'all like the show?
Yeah, but I got somebody here. Hold on, Blizzak.
Pull up.
Listen, man. You might want to pull up because your homegirl
You
is
might,
here
you
doing
might.
an interview right now. Your homegirl here.
you might,
I need to pull up.
you might.
All right, so you know Ange because she told me she knew you. You know Ange?
Ange Young
Angie Young.
I don't know, man.
from the tunnel,
From
Bad
the tunnel.
Boy,
Angie Young from
Been through
Bad Boy.
points.
Karan Marine.
Huh?
Karan,
ahead.
yo, is he on the chat? Is he? Can I pull him up on? He got to see my face.
Oh. Yo, Blizzak.
All right,
Jay
don't be
Black.
interrupted, man. Tell
Yo,
Black
I used to hang with you, Ward Corbett, Hart
Used to work
Pierre.
with
Don't
you,
mess with
Hart
me.
Pierre,
Ward Corbett.
Ward
She's saying
Corbett.
the name. She's definitely saying the name.
I used to be at the apartment a block or two from the Hit Factory.
She used to be at the apartment a block or two from the Hip
Remember those
Factory.
apartments
Okay, then she was
with the little
definitely there.
dog?
Definitely
With the
there.
little dog.
Yeah, she was dead, MV.
Uh-huh.
If she was giving you stories of that, she was definitely there.
Oh, I got some other stories for you.
Tell her she going in right now. Black got to
Those
step
are-
his game.
Hold on,
up.
Black. She going.
Yo, Shaft, those are our first studio quarters, nigga.
Yeah.
Didn't even make it home
Oh,
from
those
recording
were the
records. Niggas
studio
went across
nap.
street
Those
and
are the
went to
studio
sleep.
nap apartments. In between the sessions at the Hit Factory, you only had to walk 2 blocks
Everybody
away.
stayed in there. Mary J. Blige, Keith Sweat, Michael Jackson.
Oh, tell him he need to come and say that on his next
joint.
trip.
All right. Hey, yo, Black. Nah. I'm just calling you real quick.
He
Cause she
can't
up
see
in
my
here and
face
she said J
anyway,
Black.
though, because if he sees my face, he would know
Yeah,
me.
she official.
I'm a
What's up, darling? Hey,
listen. I'm a FaceTime you. I'm a FaceTime you. Let her finish this interview.
Okay.
all right, copy.
All right.
All
was
right,
like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
No, when he's gonna be oh my God, I'm telling you, maybe get him to pull up for real.
Yeah.
Like, I am a blast from his past, and he's a blast from my past.
Yeah.
Because
Hold on. What that mean? You used to mess with Black?
no.
Oh, Black from the past.
No. As
okay.
far as like industry people that you would rub shoulders with, be at the same parties with.
Yeah.
You have to remember that, again, another really good friend of mine at that time, Karan Vareen, and we're still friendly. You know, time elapses between friends, but she was dating Usher at the time. So
Okay.
Usher, his contract was actually a joint venture, we call it in the music industry as far as a legal standpoint.
But hold up, because Shaft just threw everything off with that call. Remember, we was into P. Diddy first.
Oh yeah, yo, was
Okay,
in
so
the PD.
you're
That's
gonna
a
Then
good
we're
do
one.
going to get to
backtrack?
Usher.
Okay.
Yes, let's
However you want to
backtrack.
do it, just tell me.
Yeah,
Just, I'm
let's
following your
backtrack,
direction.
And then we're going to get right back to
I'm
Usher.
following-
That'll be the next one.
Okay.
So, yeah, tell us about a little bit about what was your
My relationship with Diddy.
like with Diddy?
Again, Diddy and I never worked directly together, but because I worked for Diddy's old boss, basically. I mean, and not just any boss, Clive Davis.
Yeah, the
I mean,
big
Clive
boss.
Davis, you know, they compare him to basically, because he has a law degree, he has an MBA, so they say he is like, a Wall Streeter with the ears of a 19-year-old. That is the best and most simple description as far as just how talented this man is, how much you can learn from him, that anyone could ever give him. I was like, whoever wrote that article in the New York Times was dead on. I could say that as someone who worked for him for 12 years. So my time at JRCA was from about 2000, 2001, when the company was founded. I started working out of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel before the offices were even complete. My desk was underneath the chandelier, which, you know, produced so much heat because it was the Waldorf that I would literally be sitting there like sweating every day. I lost so much weight, like my first couple weeks working for J Records, because I was in the hallway like, but back to Diddy, he would come up for meetings a lot. But then I would also see him because my friend was dating Usher. So I would see him in more than one capacity. So it started getting to the point where he started acknowledging me because he started, you know, having a respect thing. Like, okay, I keep seeing this girl. Okay, she works at J Records. Okay, she's friends with this person. Okay, she's business associates with that person. So it was definitely a thing where he, you know, a recognizable thing and a mutual respect, you know, and I was very privileged to have spent, you know, some close time with him, you know what I mean, at some of his very exclusive events.
Have you ever met Biggie? Tupac?
I met Biggie at a couple parties in New York. I never personally met Tupac, but interestingly, I did meet a couple of times Kidada Jones, who dated him. Yes, we all know. Rest in peace to both of them. And God bless their moms, Afeni, you know, Valletta Wallace and Afeni Shakur. Women of strength, you know what I mean? To not have still found a killer. But anyway, back to Diddy. I had a lot of unique experiences, you know, by being connected to him even in a minimal way, you know, and just by him knowing who I was and acknowledging me and speaking to me. And then I did Clive Davis's pre-Grammy party. So I did the list. I was responsible for the list of the urban writers and producers. So, you know, a lot of people didn't know what Sean Garrett, who wrote Yeah by Usher. I mean, Yeah is a huge record with Little John on it, you know what I mean? So a lot of people could say writers' names, or Brian Michael Cox, who wrote hits for Whitney Houston and Deborah Cox. But do you know what Brian Michael Cox looks like? I do. Why? Because I was responsible for the list of urban writers and producers for Clive's party. So I had to sort of know what they looked like. I knew what they looked like because they came up for meetings prior to the party, to submit records for our artist roster. So my relationship with Diddy was sort of from numerous angles, professional, personal, that would cause me to actually be around him. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
As well as a lot of other big respectable names that I respect, have the utmost respect for to this day.
Okay, let's finish off with Usher.
Okay.
Yes. Talk to us about Usher. Finish off your story that you was talking about when you brought up Usher.
Well, what made me bring that story up was when he called Black, right? One of the reasons why I was at a lot of those places that I mentioned to Jay Black just now on the audio when he called him up was because a good, close personal friend, her name is Karan Vareen. She's been Vareen's youngest daughter. Actually, he had a total of 4. Rest in peace, Naja. He lost 1. And shout out to Kabara, her sister, Kabara and Karan Vareen. Miss you guys, love you guys. So Karan was dating Usher at the time. Back to the story. I'm trying to tell him what the relationship is with Usher, why I brought that up when Black was on the phone.
Right.
Because that's why I was at that apartment. That's why I was in Usher's sessions, because my friend was dating him. That wasn't even business, but then I might see them on the business tip another night. So I was sort of bumping into people on multiple levels. It wasn't one angle. And it was good because it kept me in the mix. And that's very important in the industry. I mean, I think probably like my last 4 jobs in the industry, I didn't even apply through human resources. I knew someone who worked at the company already who then referred me to human resources, which kind of gave me a leg up, a little bit more of a foot in the door, you know what I mean, than someone applying, just submitting a cold resume.
So what was your relationship like with Usher? Was you cool with him?
Yeah, man. I was cool with him.
You said he was dating your friend.
He was dating Karan Vareen at the time. Yes, and his mom was his mom manager. I don't know if that's still the case, but either way, Janetta Patton has mad love for that boy. Talk about a protective mom manager. We've heard about Ashanti and her mom and other artists and their mom managers, but she was just on some real old school grounded type stuff. And I remember Usher was like a kid when he got signed to that joint venture between Bad Boy and LaFace. And, he had limitations. There were certain things, especially if his mom was in town, that he could not do at that time because he was not grown yet. He wasn't fully grown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she, was not playing as far as trying to keep him as grounded as possible, as long as possible. And that's hard to do in the industry. You're exposed to so many things and so early on. You know what I mean? When you come into the game and you're young, the way Usher was when he first got signed. Yeah. So
Okay.
Chris Brown, incidentally, is a cousin of mine. We have yet to speak about it. I've met him, but at the time I didn't know he was my cousin. In his first album, he mentions in a song, I'm a country boy from Tappahannock, VA.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. My dad's whole family is from Tappahannock. It's called Essex County, Virginia. And pretty much the whole town is related. My dad had an older cousin by the name of Bula Beverly, who was a black man who looked like a white man, because he was Native American and black and white all mixed together and had blue eyes, but always declared that he was black, no matter what. So he is related to Chris's mom.
And what's that to you?
Well, that makes us cousins. That's
No. Who is that? That's your dad, what?
That's my dad's cousin, Bula Beverly, who's also related to Chris Brown's mom.
Oh, okay.
That's how we are cousins.
Oh, okay.
I've met him, but I didn't know that he was my cousin at that time.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm going to try to work on approaching his management about getting him to our family reunion. Okay. And I have a couple cousins who remember they were there at the high school in Tappahannock with him, at the same time. So it would be kind of interesting, if we could make that connection and get him and his mom to actually come to the reunion and see what our connection is biologically.
So you was on the P. Diddy. You went off to P.
All right,
Diddy.
we were on
So
P. Diddy.
let's go back that because I spoke to Jay Black about Jaguar Wright.
Okay.
And you see, I know you probably heard or seen how she's going in on P.
Have I?
You know what I'm saying? And
It's a little hard not to right now.
So what do you think about that? Like being in the industry, being under that same umbrella. Did you ever meet Jaguar Wright or?
First off, I want to give a shout out to Jaguar Wright as an artist, as an MC, as a singer, and a visionary. Outside of this whole thing, prior to this whole thing, and before people even knew who she was already extremely talented. Her uncles are like Gamble and Huff from Philly, who work with all the old groups like the OJs and this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had their own label and studio in Philly, which she used to work at and clean up garbage for them. Okay, so like if you really listen to her history and know anything about her, she's really like she's built a tough stuff. And being from North Philly, as I told you, I have a lot of people on my mom's side from Philly, and they're from North and West Philly, and they're no joke, and they are all connected to the streets. So when she says that was something she came from too, I know that to be true as well. What I will say is this too, I don't necessarily agree with coming forth, with a lot of things about a lot of people. It could backfire on you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's happened to people, but if that's where you are, and let's also think about her situation. She feels, I'm not saying it's necessarily justified, but I'm just listening to her argument. She feels that she was pretty much shortchanged, due to the way certain people moved around her in the industry. Now, if I felt that way, yeah, I might feel like her too. And if people are coming at you and saying things about you that are not necessarily true, but you know some dirt on them to definitely be true, out of here, man. That's like holding a trump card.
Yeah.
Or a few. No pun intended.
So the allegations with P. Diddy, Mary, and all of them, do you believe in those allegations or think some of it is true or all of it?
I don't know that I necessarily believe in them. Yes, I think some of them might be true, very much so.
Who you talking about, Mary or P. Diddy?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah, I think, listen, she
Can you fill
she
me
has
in
said
with some
so
of the
much.
allegations?
No, I don't, first of all, I don't believe you. Secondly, trying to catch me.
No, I really
Secondly,
No, with him, he really don't know because he just asked me about Jaguar Wright.
Yeah,
He
I
like,
don't
you ever
know
heard of this
nothing of
girl?
that.
And
I
I'm
be
like,
into
she
a
been
whole
up in
different
here.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. First of all, I don't necessarily believe them. Might they be true? Yes. Now, listen, mad rumors have come out about people in the past. Some of them ended up being true. Some of them didn't. I mean, this is just the truth. That's kind of the history. And it's not just music. It's film. It's fashion. They're all kind of like cousins
Yeah,
of one
intertwined.
another.
Yeah,
and the way
definitely.
people move. It's like the work is constantly intertwined with the play.
Yeah.
So I think, a lot of people who kind of lose sight of certain things and lose focus, yeah, they have some moments.
So did you ever experience or see anything like that going down in the industry? From the music industry, from the fashion,
Okay. Yes, I experienced seeing a couple things go down. I don't know that I'm going to speak on them, but I will say that much. Okay? I think maybe I'm going to just let that marinate for a minute. Maybe I'll revisit it. Maybe.
Okay, so what? Hold on, what labels you said you work with again?
I worked for the beginning of my industry history started for a very small label distributed by Sony BMG, not unlike J Records. So I kind of came full circle. So I started at a label called Robbins Entertainment. Shout out to Corey Robbins, who started and founded Profile Records back in the day. I think I want to
Profile,
say
yeah.
Profile Records, okay?
Yeah.
Don't mess with me. Okay, and then I think Sleeping Bag Records, I think might have even been
Sleeping
a
Bag.
subsidiary of his.
Yeah.
So I really, when I say I learned from the best, from the beginning, I learned from the best. So he had a small label by the name of Robbins Entertainment. We came out with a couple of songs. There was a kind of 92 KTU type artist by the name of Raquel. She had a song called In a Dream. It was like, in a dream, my love, something like that. You will find my
Oh, hell yeah. I know
heart.
that
It's
song.
a big
What are you
record.
talking about? That's
so
a
I worked
hit.
on that record. That
Oh,
was one
yeah?
of my first records.
That was
which was
official.
not
That was a
even
hit.
which was not even hip hop or R&B.
Yeah, that was,
It was,
official.
you know, so I've worked on, and then at Tommy Boy, in addition to, I worked at Tommy Boy for 3 to 4 years, in addition to working with people like Amber Jocelyn Enriquez, you know, I worked with CNN, Capone and Noriega, hence you saw my Nori plaque.
Yeah.
I work with De La Soul. I work with DITC. Shout out to Lord Finesse, one of my mentors.
Oh, you
to this
know
day.
Lord Finesse? I
Yes.
see Lord Finesse. I be seeing Lord
Yes,
Finesse. Yeah,
he
that was
is-
one of my
he is a
favorites. He
mentor
was
of
fire.
mine.
Oh yeah, he was fire. Ain't he DJing now or something? What he doing
He's
now?
doing everything right now.
Yeah.
He's traveling all around the world. You know, he recently had a big birthday.
Yeah.
And again, shout out to Lord Finesse. Again, definitely my peoples, my mentor for a really long time, taught me a lot. Him, Eddie O'Loughlin, you know, that signed Salt and Pepper from back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, an Irishman who has the ears of a black man.
I heard you mentioned Anthony Michael Cox, right?
Brian Michael
Cox, I mean.
Yes, he's a writer.
Because he did like Trey Songz.
Mm-hmm.
He was messing with Trey. And I always hear his name, Brian Michael Cox. I mean, who the hell is this Brian
Yeah,
Michael
but
Cox?
pre Trey Songz, he worked with
Yeah.
Whitney, Deborah Cox. I'm leaving out like mad people I can't think of right now. Brian McKnight, I think. I mean, you know, I'm talking big names.
Okay.
You
And what
know.
was he, a writer?
A writer, strictly a writer.
Do you
he wrote
know
big
do you know
hits.
how to write? Do you know how to sing?
I'm, you know, I'm sort of like a little undercover. Again, I grew up around music, so yeah, I kind of do my thing, but not on a serious level. I'm thinking about taking it to the next step. You know, they say it's never too late. People have been encouraged, like, we're gonna get you on a mic one day, and
Oh, so what you do? You sing or you write music?
well, I sing and I rhyme a little bit. So
So let me ask you. So your job behind the scenes, you was the writer. You was like the songwriter.
you never heard that expression, like everyone who works at MTV is a frustrated artist. You know, was everyone who worked there was like in a band, or you know, was a dancer, or you know what I mean, was like, you know, was in fashion, or you know, was a backup dancer on stage. You know, so I just think that it's a tough industry, not just for women. Like, you know, you have to do a lot of grunt work to really get promoted, especially as a female.
So you was the writer. You was the songwriter.
No. I was doing like admin type stuff. So I started out as an A&R assistant, then I became an A&R coordinator, then I became a marketing manager, you know, and then went on to different positions. My last position, I was a creative director of a music publishing company in which I was pitching our assets to music and film TV supervisors. So we had a catalog of something, you know, like 4,000 songs. So I was pitching those songs to film and music TV supervisors who do all the track listings for various shows, whether it be Gotham on Fox, you know, about Batman, or whether it be a movie. And I had a couple of placements, so it went well. You know, we had a couple of songs by Aretha Franklin that were never released. So we had, you know, things that were attractive to people.
Okay.
You know, once again, shout out to Isidro Otis. You know, it was a wonderful learning environment for me. And the Clyde Otis Music Group is historical as really the only fully functioning black music publishing company
Oh yeah.
in the country.
Okay.
The Clyde Otis Music Group. Look it up.
Say it again.
The Clyde Otis Music
Oh, the
Group.
Clyde.
Yeah, Clyde. CLYDE. Not Clive like Clive Davis.
Okay.
Clyde Owen wrote songs for people like Dinah Washington, Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin, and you know, by luck of his not only sheer talent, you know, he used to drive a cab, so he somehow ended up his songs were playing in a cab, and guess who got in his cab? Like Ahmet Ertegun, who was like the head of Atlantic Records in the 50s. This man gets in this black man's cab. This is in the 50s, and hears his songs like, man, you can write some songs. And from that one incident, he ended up getting put on by Ahmet Ertegun and Jerry, I want to say it's Jerry Wexler, those two partners that were in,
That's when Armit was in Ray, right?
they were in Ray.
It was Ray.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those same two
The same
partners.
two, yeah,
But I
okay.
just said Clyde Otis wrote songs for Ray.
Oh,
That was
yeah,
one
okay.
Ray, Donna Washington,
Oh,
Aretha
okay.
Franklin.
Oh,
So Ray
all right.
Charles was in that bunch.
Yeah.
B.B. King and Bobby Bland, Brooke Benton. I'm leaving out people. So, I have history in all areas of music, all genres.
Tell me, you met R. Kelly at one time.
Oh, yeah, probably.
What was R. Kelly like, man?
Oh, when I met him, wild and unappealing.
Why you say that?
Well, I was young. I was, it was like Spelman College. It was like a homecoming concert. I was just like, you remind me of my G. We were on our Spelman College like homecoming. Freaknik. You know what I mean? Like, come
Right.
on. I mean, college. It was college vibes. So number one, I wasn't taking him seriously, and number two, at the time, he darn sure wasn't taking us seriously.
You
But
ever
have
did
to
any
think-
work with him?
You have to think how long ago this. No, because I did not work at Jive Records, and that was his label. I knew people who knew him, but no, I never worked with him directly. No.
So how was it for you in the industry as far as like, they say like women when they're in the industry, whether in the front line or behind the scenes, like as far as like sexually to get up in positions and stuff like that?
It's a tough road for a female, and I'm about to get real serious
Let's get it in.
because it's a serious matter, and that actually comes from a little poem that I was taught when I played JK at Spelman College, amongst other really, really very didactical poems that they were didactical because they taught you something. They weren't just a poem. You had to kind of read in between the lines. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that to say it's a real serious road for a female. And to this day, I get a lot of respect. Shout out to Spliff Star. Thank you for all your respect and, always bigging me up when you can. Divine, Cash Gorillas. But all the people that big me up as a strong female is because I am. You know what I mean? And it took time to build that up. Women are objectified constantly in the music industry. A lot of the people I mention, as well as rappers that I did not mention, respect me because I never compromised myself, not in the studio. I might have, got down with, a little shot from the Magnum of Henny that came up to my waist. But I never did anything that was distasteful. So I didn't have to do that walk of shame down the hallway when I got to work the next day.
Yeah.
That's what these chicks weren't thinking about when they were doing what I wasn't. That's what I have to say. That's it in a nutshell. There really ain't much else to say about it. It's
Give us some detail.
Either you're gonna be strong
Like,
and
what
hold
are
your
some of the
ground and not
things
take your
women-
clothes off.
So what are some of the things they were subjected to? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of things. Take your clothes off, to take the bottle, do this with it, do that with it, all sorts of things. These aren't things that are unheard of. It wasn't unlike when black female artists were on the Chitlin circuit back in the day.
Yeah.
Like Sarah Vaughan and Ella Fitzgerald and Gloria Lynn and Carmen McRae. This is nothing new. So that's why when people are like, oh, but I think that because the music industry has been, and is still on some level, so male-driven, that's what's made it especially hard for us. A lot of women won't even get to where I was. I wish I had gotten further, but other priorities, in life came up. I'm sort of just getting back into the mix.
okay, that's
But it's my passion. It's my first love. I mean, for me to have worked in music for a solidified 18 years, I mean, that's almost half of my life,
yeah.
if you want to get technical about it.
So, so you never dealt with no one in the industry, no artists or nothing before,
On a personal,
on a personal relationship or anything? You like okay?
I went on a couple dates. Honestly, it never got serious.
With who? Yeah. I'm asking you who. With who?
Let's see.
You said a couple of dates, so you probably had a couple of dates with so and so and so and so.
I'm going to say this. A couple were with executives, a couple were with artists. I'm not naming, not right now.
You're not naming the executives or the artists?
Neither.
No.
Nope. Hey, listen, I'm a hard chick, you know what I mean? But, this is still a good interview. I hope you think. Come on now. Yeah, a couple executives and a couple artists. I did not let it get serious. One executive, really, actually two executives wanted to get very serious. And I was just kind of like, no. You know what I mean? Just sort of just the climate that we work in, that it involves. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting taken for a free meal and a couple drinks every once in a while. I'll go on a date with you, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, all day. All day. And I won't even mention those people because then they might be perceived as if they've been pursuing me in a way that they don't want to be perceived.
Oh,
because
okay.
it didn't go beyond dinner. But I'm just like that, So
Okay.
we could talk off the record.
Oh, off the record.
As we say, off the record.
Okay.
So,
You ever mess with 50 G Unit? You ever mess with that?
well, first of all, shout out to Olivia Longott. Love you, Livy. Olivia was actually the first lady of J Records. And then Alicia came out after that. And then Angie Stone and Dido. And all the other awesome female acts that we had, especially before, because we signed all the American Idols and their runner-ups.
Okay.
So again, I'm sorry, just a little tangent outside of G Unit. This is how Clive Davis's mind works. The fact that he secured a deal legally at which whoever won American Idol and whoever the runner-up was automatically got signed to us. So that's why we had Ruben and Clay, Fantasia and Kelly, this person and that person.
Okay.
Do you remember we came out with those albums?
Yeah.
Heather, what was her name? Not Heather. She was West Indian. Oh man, she's a good singer too. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking.
Amari.
No, her
not
name
that-
is Heather. I'll come
Okay.
back to it. But I'm just saying, Catherine McPhee. All those people were idols.
Okay.
And they just automatically, once they won, it was up to us to put their albums out. But guess what? The marketing had already been done because they had already been on TV for a year.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So do you see how smart Clive is in his thinking?
Yeah.
The marketing had already been done.
So you
All
had
we
to do is put it out.
Everyone
now.
loved them already.
Yeah.
And they were winners.
You already had your fans
All we had
already.
to do was, get Brian Michael Cox in and this writer in and that producer in and the ultimate mixer who did final mixes and the ultimate people who did EQing like Herb Powers. Shout out to Herb Powers and all the big people over at Hit Factory back in the day and Sony who did all the EQing and final mixes that I used to help approve.
Okay. Okay. So what made you leave the industry after 18 years of being in there?
Honestly, I needed a change. After I left the music publishing company, I just felt, everything runs its course. Everything runs its course. And while I didn't lose music as my passion, what I did lose was sort of like the politics involved and working at a label. It's just seriously, it's very cliquey. You know what I mean? And there's certain cliques that are just too cool for school. You feel me?
Yeah.
And, some people were cool with them and cool with other cliques. And then some people were only cool with them. So there's this constant sort of division, of personal interaction that definitely affected professional interaction. I don't care what nobody say. Mm-hmm. And there were just a lot of sort of tendencies that I got weary of. It was time for me to do something different for a while. Maybe come back to that. Not like everybody else, reinvents himself at some point. Or they say, the 7-year itch. You want to do something different. You want to, you might come back to what your original passion is,
Okay.
And if you're really that passionate about it, it'll be there. It'll be there when you're ready to reignite that fire.
Okay. So tell me about today. So what are you doing today?
Well, right now, I started doing a little music consulting a few years back because I just couldn't stay away.
Okay.
I felt like the godfather. And I was trying to stay away, and someone would call me and be like, "Ange, will you listen to this? I know you're not doing this. I know you're not working in the industry right now, but I know you got a genuine ear. You know what I mean? Like a really well-trained ear. And I really need you to hear this. So I felt like the Godfather. Like every time I get out, they pull me back in.
Yeah. Okay.
I did. I felt like that because I was really trying to stay away from it. I was trying to expand my horizons in other industries. What other talents do I have? What do I have? What talents do I have that might be transferable? You know, from what I did in music and entertainment to something different that would be lucrative, obviously, especially living in New York City. But this is my home. I'm always going to survive here no matter what. Trust and
So
believe.
you in Brooklyn now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn now, Crown Heights. I did one smart thing with a lot of my bonus money that I earned in the music industry, and then I invested in a brownstone with my mom and my brother and family in 2004. So we're about 15 years,
Okay.
on our 30 year. And God willing, we'll make it through, and then all we'll have is the property tax. So,
Yeah.
I have something to show for. I have a backyard with 2 pear trees and a whole entire home that we've been able, thank God, I'm gonna act like this is wood. Oh, this is wood. Knock on wood, that we're gonna maintain. Yeah.
All right. So what would you give to, like, as far as females coming in the industry, knowing that the history of it and how it's even crazier today? What type of advice would you give a female artist?
Female artists.
Or anyone coming into the industry?
Anyone?
you know?
Okay, so you've like working even from my side, any
Yeah,
female?
yeah.
I would just say, listen, if it's something that you really love as much as I just love music that much. It was in my life prior to me even coming out of the womb. So I can't really speak for anyone else. Like, how much is it your passion, number one?
Yeah.
What are you willing to sacrifice? And maybe be put in some uncomfortable situations as an artist and as a staff member. Okay? On more than one occasion. So if you think that you are strong enough, to endure all of that and or smart enough to work around it, or a combination thereof, go for it. Do it. And if you're talented, definitely push yourself. Stand your ground. Because your talent really is all you should be able to stand on. That's all you should stand on, technically. And if you're that dope, don't sacrifice anything. If you're that dope, somebody will pick you up. It's like Russell Simmons once said a long time ago, and I mention it a lot because I just think it's very simple and it's true. If you knock on a bunch of doors and they don't open, keep knocking and or create your own door to walk through. That's it.
So, what else you doing now for work besides, I see you said you dig back into the industry. So you just working now regular, like you're just a regular person now. You're not in the industry in the limelight.
I'm not, no longer, because a lot of industry people, big names, you just names people have heard over the years. Jeff Burrows, much respect to him. Shout out to him, his wife Nicole, and their families, their kids, people I've known for a long time. But I'm just saying that to say we sort of became like stars in our own right, in a lot of ways, because everyone knew we worked with certain people. And if we were able to stay in the game, for a long time, that just also sort of breeded further respect. If you've been doing this for a long time, okay, you're no longer here, but you're there. It's like I moved, I worked at about 6 different places and I kept it moving. And it happened very quickly. It was like, okay, I was done at Tommy Boy 1 week, and then I was at J Records like less than a month later. You know what I mean? Like, because, we were hot at the time. All of us were reputable. We were working on big records. People knew us. We did our jobs well. That was it. So I would just, again, say to those females, particularly artists, just continue to believe in yourself and push yourself. If you hit certain challenges, maybe try to reach out to other females, you know what I mean? Or in some way, shape, or form that might have had anything to do with the industry who could offer you advice. Show up at events, log onto these things virtually because we're in the virus. Get to know people in the artistic community. Because there's also a lot of strength there.
So how about you on a personal level? Like, you got kids?
No kids.
No kids.
I am dating.
Dating?
And right now, that's about it. My industry, for me as a female, was not really conducive to having kids. You know, and my mom was like, if you have some kids, I'm not taking care, I'm not babysitting, I'm not, you know. And then listen, every guy I meet that I've ever been serious with at any point, it's like, you shouldn't have listened. Why you listen to her? Because the minute that baby came, she would have been like, she would have just melted. Your whole family would have just, which is probably true.
Yeah.
So
But-
you have no children?
No kids, not to
You
date.
regret any of that?
Not really. And I was told I have another year or two, but you know, obviously there would be some challenges possibly, you know, because it's just, well, no, I don't know. Women are having babies later. I don't know. You know, I would have to be a situation for me where if it happened in 2 years, I probably would do it. I still have a lot of stamina. I could run
You
after
got a lot of
kids.
stamina, okay.
Yeah, I mean, listen, hopefully I don't look, you know, a little over 45. And from what the doctors are saying, I'm looking pretty good. Like I'm, you know, about 6 years younger than my age.
So you said you dating.
And
you
that's
date-
from some testing.
Okay.
But anyway,
So you said you dating now. Ain't nobody in the industry though, right?
oh,
No?
well,
You sure? Because you ain't telling a lot. I don't know.
is it someone in the industry? All right, you know what? I will say, kinda, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep,
Industry?
industry.
Artist?
Not an artist.
You ain't gonna give it up, huh? You just gonna hold.
I'm not, man. I'm not. You know, y'all might be able to get me back. If you get me back for a part 2 and get Jay Black to pull up.